My name is Courtney Colson, a female to male to female detransitioner, and on this channel we try to figure out what the hell is wrong with me. And on this episode, I'm gonna be bitching about my life for an hour, I guess. It was a little over a year ago that my house was broken into the first time, and that was the most traumatic thing I'd been through then. But that was not the end of it. No, that was the beginning of it. That was the first circle of hell. We're up to 7th, 8th circle of hell, 9th? I don't know. I've lost track. I talked about having the worst food poisoning or whatever it was in the last video, and I had internal bleeding. Ended up in the emergency room, and they took a stool sample, and about a week after that they told me it's Campylobacter, which is a pretty rare virus, which you normally get from, weirdly, vegetables or chicken. I don't eat a lot of both, but then I realized, oh, well, I had chicken livers. That's what they said I had, and then a little while after that I got a phone call from a man with the thickest Indian accent, so I assumed it was a spam call. I was about to hang up, and then he says, oh, I'm from the Australian Department of Health, I think it was, and he needs to know about Campylobacter and where I got it from and all that. And so I thought, okay, that's the end of it. It was an awful experience, but hey, I survived, and that's the end of it, right? No. It gets worse. So, about a week later, I do another stool test. My GP makes me do that. Just, to follow up, just to make sure everything's okay. It was not okay. So I get a phone call from the hospital saying, yeah, you need to come in ASAP. We need you for an emergency colonoscopy. You're a category 1. And what makes me a category 1 is that my inflammation markers is normally supposed to be under 50. Mine was 600. So I went, oh, fuck, okay, yeah, I guess I will. And I'm on a very low inflammatory diet. I do the carnivore diet. I eat 1 meal a day, cold showers, fish oil, everything, just to keep my inflammation as low as possible. And it seems to have helped me before, but now that my inflammation's so high, I mean, that's bizarre. And they tell me, well, if you don't have the virus in your system anymore, it shouldn't have anything to do with that. We don't know why this is the case. So I went for a colonoscopy, and I really didn't want to. I mean, I've already been through enough trauma with hospitals lately. And it turns out that ambulances are not free in WA. I thought I had a pension card, so I shouldn't be charged. Oh no, they were just sending the bills to a fictional address. So yeah, no, now I owe like $1,000 or more for 2 ambulances. Only in Queensland and Tasmania does the government pay for that. Why? I don't know. It is really fucked. That this is a life and death thing. It's not a taxi. It's an ambulance. It's necessary, and you want people who are in a life or death situation to have to feel like, maybe I will chance driving or getting someone else to drive me. I can't afford that. And they don't tell you about ambulance insurance or anything. No one really gives you proper information. I didn't know I even had to pay. I'm on the disability pension. What money do I have? So that's extra stress on top of everything else. But yeah, it's not like I could have gotten myself there. I wasn't going to have... thankfully, my body behaved itself on that ambulance ride, but I was not going to have explosive, bloody diarrhea all over some Uber driver's car. He doesn't deserve that. But, yeah, so I was terrified about having to get this colonoscopy and going under anesthesia again and being completely at the mercy of other people. Just my body is this prop, this mannequin. And the people you should be able to turn to in a scary situation like that is, of course, your family. But I couldn't. I'd already had an argument with my mother, well, leading up to getting this test. She was already jumping on, oh, you've probably got an irritable bowel disease, you've probably got Crohn's disease, so you have to start eating vegetables and fruit, and you've got to start eating multiple times a day, and Whoa. Slow down. First of all, I did a librarianship degree at university. I'm university educated. I know how to do proper scientific research. And you looking at whatever shows up on the front page of Google, especially when there are many companies, vested interest, who want to make sure that front page has the information they want on the front. And I know it makes me sound like a conspiratard, a conspiracy theorist. But I've explained to my mother over and over again, look, this is why, the American lobbyists have pushed this agenda for cereal and soft drinks and, a very carb-heavy diet, which is not how humans have ever eaten. Even post-agriculture, we were not consuming that much refined sugar and that many carbohydrates, but she never listens. She never ever listens. And I'm realizing that more and more now. And I really felt offended that she doesn't trust my authority. She doesn't trust my expertise. She doesn't trust the fact that I was so sick and I'm doing so much better now. Not because of doctors or medicine, because I changed my diet to the diet my species evolved to eat. And I'm not, one of those militant carnivores that everyone has to be carnivore. My mom thinks that I'm saying that everyone has to be carnivore. I'm saying everyone has to be meat-based. Everyone needs to be eating meat and eating less refined, artificial stuff. I don't think that's a controversial thing. I'd probably say that I'm really advocating for a Paleolithic diet. Just getting back to nature. I'm all about ancestral living. I don't think any of that's controversial, but of course she hears what she wants to hear. And I really don't know why she wants me to be a vegetarian or omnivore or whatever she is. But I don't know, I'm kind of thinking maybe she just wants me to be as fat and miserable as she is. She's always struggled with her weight, and she's seeing me not even really... Well, okay, now I'm back to bodybuilding. We'll get to that later. Obviously not really that much to show so far. I did want to wait to wear this costume when I've put back on a bit more muscle, but I don't know. I was feeling in the big boss mood today. He makes a lot of sense. Maybe I'd make my own out of heaven. How many times can you be fucked over before you fight back, right? Well, I ain't gonna go postal or anything. Probably. But, yeah, so Mum was harassing me about, you gotta change your diet. Hey, well, cart before the horse. I haven't even got a diagnosis. I don't know what this is. It could just be my body's remained very inflamed from the Campylobacter infection. There's probably no real mystery here. I know my guts pretty well. Gotta follow my gut instinct. But, she didn't want to hear that. So, I just stopped talking to her. And then the day before the colonoscopy, she calls me. I didn't call her back. Then the morning I'm doing the bowel prep, she calls me and, I answer and go, this might be my last chance to actually talk to her. Sorry about the train in the background there. And that's the thing, leading up to this procedure, I was making these preparations as if I was going to die. Because, Lord knows I didn't get a chance the first time when I was nearly killed in that hit and run. I had no warning. You don't get warning when death is going to approach. She'll just show up whenever. And doesn't matter if it's narratively or thematically appropriate. The end is going to happen when it happens. So, I used to be afraid of death, but after this experience, I don't think so, not anymore. I've talked about it in previous videos. When I first detransitioned, I was first gaining emotions. I kept having this anxiety about death, and I think that's just because I didn't go through that normal maturation process. I didn't have emotions. And now I do have emotions, and they're getting a fair pummeling. They're getting a beating of their lifetime. It's, I don't know why, but my life really wasn't this dramatic until now. And now I can feel everything and Fuck me. It's a lot. It's a lot. So yeah, mum calls and I decide, this might be our last chance to actually talk, and maybe this will change her attitude a little bit. She'll stop arguing about who's right or wrong about diet and why she even thinks she has any authority over her 31-year-old adult daughter's body. She's always been quite controlling of my body, and I realize that's where a lot of my issues came from. But she starts off quiet. Oh, so did you not see my call yesterday? Oh, yeah, no, I didn't. She asked me, what time is this procedure? Where is it? And I just say, well, why do you need to know? Well, I'm your mother. I need to know. I have to be there to support you. No, I'm an adult. I can handle this myself. My friend, I won't say his name, will be picking me up. It's no big deal. I'll just take an Uber there. Well, she didn't like that, and she immediately started screaming and shouting at me. Well, okay, yeah, really mature that her idea of solving any problem is screaming until people submit. How do you think screaming is going to make someone love you? She pushed me away. But I mentioned this to her. I said, I really don't need you around after something very stressful like that, because the last time she picked me up from something, I had an MRI. We'd spent the morning together, and then she dropped me off, and I said goodbye as if I was not going to see her again for the rest of the day. She went to visit her parents. After the MRI, I had really bad vertigo, and it did not go away after about 20 minutes. So called her and said, oh, hey, is it possible to pick me up? I don't think I can get home by bus alone. And she said, yeah, no worries. So she comes, and things are fine for all of about a minute or two. And I mentioned that the first MRI I ever had was the best meditation of my life. I was so chill. It was great. So I was kind of looking forward to this second MRI, thinking I might be able to just get into that zone again. Because I've had a lot of trouble meditating, and I really panicked before I went, and I had to lie down, and they put this thing over my face to do the MRI, and I just, I had to sit up. I couldn't breathe, and then they were saying, oh, well, we can't just sedate you. You'd have to go back to a GP. Then they give us a prescription to sedate you. Then we'll shut the fuck up. Just fucking do it. Look, jeez, I just panicked for a second. Jeez. So the rest of the MRI went okay, but then I had the vertigo. Then Mum picked me up, and I mentioned, oh yeah, the second one was way more traumatic, and so obviously the PTSD. I do have PTSD. It's obvious that this is what I have, and it's changed the way I respond to things. And yeah, you're right. I probably should be getting help for that. She starts arguing with me. This wasn't your second one. This is your third one. Oh, is it? Hang on. So what was the other one? Because when I had that first one, the first one I know was when I was living. I had cut off contact with her. I was transgender. I mentioned. So was that when I was Connor, or was there one before that? Can you, a pretty normal, sensible question, right? No. She begins screaming at me. Shut the fuck up! I don't know when it happened. I don't remember everything. I don't know. If you don't shut the fuck up, I'm gonna bash your fucking skull in. And she said it exactly like that, and I really wish I'd recorded it. Because my family doesn't believe me. They think I'm making all of this up. And I don't tell lies. Maybe I did as a kid, but ever since my father left, I vowed I would never tell a lie. And that was a really traumatic experience. How could it not be? You've just come out of an MRI, which was upsetting enough. So you just want to go home and lie down. You're trapped in this car with this screeching banshee, mad woman. Who, I mean, she's not veering around or anything on the road. She's still driving okay. I mean, she's making a few mistakes, but she's not going through red lights or anything. But I really was terrified, and that's why I didn't think to record it. I really should have. And so yeah, I said, look, there's a bus stop there. I recognize that bus number. I know how to get home from here. It's really straightforward. I can do it. Please just let me go. Oh, don't be ridiculous. I'm your mother. You think I'm just going to let you go all the way home by yourself? That's not the behavior of a sane person, of a well person. And she's been like this for a while, and I'm trying to remember when it started. And I'm pretty sure it was after Dad left. It's just, she didn't handle it well, and she obviously had a mental breakdown. I mean, there was a lot of fights and a lot of issues in the period after he left. And she never really got better after that, and she's much more emotionally unstable. She flies off the handle over anything, any small thing, and it's a screaming match. I was just asking, why did you think I've had 3 MRIs when it was only 2 as far as I know? I mean, you know I have amnesia. I don't remember being in the hospital. So it really wasn't until that night I'm lying there and staring at the ceiling going, oh, well obviously it must have been when I was in the hospital after the hit and run. Because I can't think of any other example of an MRI. And then it did dawn on me, oh yeah, no, they did say they did scan my brain. And I was trying to crawl out of the MRI or something. And actually, I looked at my memoir, the draft of my memoir. I haven't finished it yet. But yeah, I looked at it, and I actually did mention an MRI there. So look, she knows I have amnesia. If she could just be more patient, and we could have just talked it out and go, oh, well, obviously it happened in the week you don't remember. I mean, I would have figured it out too if I wasn't being screamed at and fearing for my goddamn life. And of course, if my mother heard that, oh, don't be so melodramatic, don't be such a drama queen. And that's the voice I've got in my head now. It's really destructive. I'm realizing I've been raised by a narcissist. I have been abused for a long time, and I just accepted it for so long because my issues were downplayed, dismissed. Oh, you're so selfish, you're so rude, you're so childish. No, I'm not doing that anymore. You know, I tried. My therapist, I've got a whole story to tell her, but she was just saying, you know, she's saying to me, oh, I believe everyone deserves respect. Yeah. Respect goes 2 ways, lady. My mother doesn't give me any respect. She threatens to bash my fucking skull in. I don't think that's a woman who deserves respect, do you? And she just shut up at that. But, yeah, no, I've tried again and again. I cut her out of my life, my mother, when I transitioned. I mean, I transitioned as this act of rebellion against her very controlling, very conservative ways. And then, you know, a couple years later, and I was, this is a little before transitioning, but I went, you know, I'm willing to give you another chance. We've had a long time apart. I think this has been good for both of us. I feel I've grown as a person. Let's give it another go. You know, it's okay for about a year or 2, but after the hit and run, things just really took a nosedive because I was put under her control again. And I'm so fucking furious about it because I know now because I've gone through it. If I was injured that badly again, I don't need any help. I don't need anyone. I could have done it myself. Really, I mean, in the end, I was the one bathing myself, feeding myself, because she complained so much about it and wouldn't do it half the time. So yeah, I had to do everything for myself. And she talks about, after everything I've done for you, so selfish. If every bit of generosity comes at a price, if you keep the receipts, if you have a tally system, you know, or 1 for you, 1 for me, 1 for you, 1 for me. That's not how it works, especially when someone has nearly fucking died. I can't do anything for you. I'm struggling to look after myself. But yeah, next time, I'm thinking about getting a restraining order. Because She really overstepped the line. So, yeah, on the phone, I mentioned, I really don't want to be around you after the colonoscopy, after the way you behaved after the MRI. Well, I had to, because you weren't listening. And she's just screaming. I can barely hear because the microphone's peaking. She's angry at me because I'm saying, look, for my own mental health, I would really appreciate it if I didn't see you at all. No offense, but you're not really a calming presence, and after your behavior last time, and you didn't really even apologize for that, I just don't want you around. I'm sorry. But to her, that was a declaration of war. And she found out who was picking me up. She has his number. And she contacted him and made up this whole story of, I'm really concerned about her mental health. She's acting really crazy. She won't let me pick her up. She has this little sad emoji face. I'm her mummy. I want to look after her. And I'm really concerned about her, blah, blah, blah. So she asked my mate to lie to me. She wants him to cancel his promise to me at the last minute because she's delusional enough to think that if he says no, I'm going to call her next? Bitch, you're 99th on that list. There's nearly 100 other people I would call before I called you. I couldn't get an Uber out of there because before I even had the colonoscopy, they were saying, well, actually, you need to have someone pick you up. You can't just leave by yourself. And you need to have someone stay with you the night. No one stay with me the night. I don't give a fuck. My neighbors are right here. I can just ask them for help if I needed it. But if it's an emergency, just call an ambulance, even though it costs an arm and a friggin' leg. But, yeah, so my mate picks me up. And yeah, all goes well. He stays around here for a while, just making sure I'm okay. I eat lunch. So he agrees. You seem fine to me. I don't see why she thinks you'd need to stay with her for days at a time. Well, yeah, exactly. Because she wants me under her control. And she always talks about, well, in the last birthday card she gave me, probably ever, no one will ever love you like I do. I fucking hope not. Because you're doing a real shit job of it. I hope no one loves me the way you do. Because the way she loves me is as an object, an item, a possession. I mean, at least one of the last times I saw her, she said, I don't understand you, but you're my daughter and I love you. Okay, that's good. I'm glad to hear that, because she doesn't care what my brothers do. She's never really controlled what they did or how they dressed or how they acted or whatever. But I was scrutinized to the most minute degree. My body hair, my weight. I mean, she would, I could just be just sitting there at a family gathering, whatever, and I'm just relaxing. And maybe my shirt sort of bloused over a bit, and she's like, oh, I thought you were getting a belly. Just to make sure, poking and prodding at me. Oh yeah, make sure I'm not fat. Jeez, that's the worst thing in the fucking world. We used to go for walks, and I was wearing yoga pants, and she was concerned that, oh, your bum looks big. Oh, you're getting a bit of an ass there. I'm just wearing tight-fitting pants. She was constantly scrutinizing everything. She would pluck my eyebrows and criticize my makeup and everything. And yeah, she was encouraging me to have this low-fat diet that she was doing, which obviously would actually do nothing to keep you thin. But for me, yeah, I was barely 50 kilos. And I was just eating carbs. I was eating all day because I was eating nothing but carbs. So it was never satisfying. I was always starving, but trying to eat as little as possible. And I was counting my calories, and it was like this OCD thing in my head. I'd be counting, okay, how many meals did I have, and how many calories is that? And it's fucked up. And I didn't realize how fucked up that was until I read a book by Jeanette McCurdy. She was a child actress on iCarly. And she's got this book, amazing book, I'm Glad My Mum Died. And it's about the abuse she went through with her mother. And, I mean, her mother was way crazier than mine is. My mum was fine most of my childhood, but I think there was just, that desire there to control me in some ways, but it wasn't as overt as Jeanette's mother. But yeah, just realizing where a lot of my body issues came from. And when I transitioned and I suddenly stacked on a lot of weight, and I mean, it wasn't all muscle, it was kind of, I was a bit fat. I was fat for a while. I didn't mind. I kind of liked it. I liked being heftier because I was so sick of being this frail little thing, this weak little thing. I hated it. So being bigger, whether that was muscle or fat, didn't care. I liked being chunky. And, well, we'll get into my current return to bodybuilding soon enough. But yeah, the colonoscopy was horrible and traumatic. Well, the night before, so, my mate tells me, okay, this is what's going on with your mother, and she's made up all these lies, and she wants me to lie to you, and, I was just so stressed. I was terrified about this procedure. I'm already feeling crook as a dog because I've had to take the bowel prep, which thankfully wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be. I was just slowly playing. I was playing Sanitarium, this old point-and-click adventure game. Throughout the course of the day, slowly drinking this orange stuff. It's disgusting. I didn't even need the entire 4 liters. I only drank about 2.5, 3. And they said that my bowels were perfect for the procedure. Okay, cool. Good to know. But, I'd already lost a fair amount of weight, and I think I lost a bit more, probably 5-6 kilos in total, very rapidly in a couple of weeks. And again, I'm kind of got bigorexia. I want to be muscular, and I don't want to be skinny and scrawny, and that's sort of been in my mind lately, and I haven't really been eating as much as I normally do because I don't feel very well. But yeah, so that night I actually did a death meditation. I don't normally meditate much at all because it inevitably makes me cry, but yeah, I did this death meditation and just bawled my eyes out because there's just obviously so much stress and pain built up there. This is someone I've not cried for most of my life. I did as a child, and then from the age of about 11 to 28, no emotions at all. And yeah, now I'm feeling the one. I cry a lot. And yeah, that night, doing the death meditation and just imagining, if you've ever done it, imagining you die. I'm imagining dying on that operating table and what happens to my body and goes into the morgue, being cremated, imagining how my family and my friends respond, and just sobbing my eyes out. And then I was one of the I do listen to music when I meditate, and one of the songs I was listening to was Adagio for Tron, one of my favorite songs from the Tron Legacy soundtrack. Yes, I'm a huge nerd, don't judge me. Go ahead, judge me, I don't care. But while I was crying, I blew my nose, and I'm deaf in that ear from the accident, the inflammation. Well, now they're telling me it's actually a fungal infection on top of the inflammation, so they've put this slow-release wax in there to hopefully kill that fungus for good. But this is before that. So I just had the inflammation. And I blew my nose, and that actually opened up the ear canal a little bit. And I could actually hear this song properly. And I didn't realize, you just get used to a certain way of life. And hearing those strings, and that song really hits its crescendo, and hearing every piece in that orchestra, and just like, I can't fucking take this. I've lost, I was just an absolute mess. It's just, this is a reminder of another thing that's been taken from me that may or may not return, my sense of smell and taste and hearing. Weirdly, the thing that makes me upset is, I've never been in a relationship, but the idea of, falling in love and finding a partner, which, I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but if I did, smell might even taste. This is a very crucial part of intimacy, and knowing that I will never, ever know that I won't know what my partner smells like. And, I was quite sensitive to smell. Smell is quite a strong sense connected to memory. Now everything is just metallic eggs. Tastes like metallic eggs. It smells like metallic eggs. So the morning of the colonoscopy, I actually woke up early. So I stayed up pretty late, after midnight. And, I'm normally in bed by about 9:30. I had to wake up early so it's a 7 o'clock appointment. So I should wake up at 5:30, 6 o'clock. I woke up at 5 a.m. wide awake. And I just felt this complete acceptance. Just went, yeah, this is my final day. This is it. And watched the sunrise, listened to some kookaburras. And I went, this isn't so bad. I've had a good run. And I, said goodbye to everybody that I love. Well, if I forgot, I'm sorry. I had a lot going on. Got ready, and I made my bed, actually. I don't normally make my bed unless I've got company coming over, because what's the point, especially with how much fatigue I deal with these days. I made my bed, and I just looked around, and I want it to look reasonably nice for whoever's going to come in here and deal with this place after me, and said goodbye to Ivy, my car. Poppy, my slowpoke plush on my bed. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm alone, but I don't know. Felt nice to at least say it out loud to someone, anything. Took an Uber there, and it was a beautiful morning. It's up in the hills, looking at these very expensive houses, looking at the bushland. Yeah, the whole time I was just thinking. It was a gratitude meditation. I went, I'm thankful for all these things. The thing I actually kept coming back to in my meditation was, I'm thankful for David Lynch. Man, what great movies those were. What great stories he told. Those meant a lot to me. I'm really grateful. And Metal Gear as well. This is a thing my family doesn't really understand, but stories are so powerful and they're so important. And I've talked about this in other videos, but God, I don't know how I would have gotten this far without Snake, Kazuhiro, or any of the characters in Metal Gear. So, yeah. Get to the hospital, really quiet little place. I'm the first one there, and then 4 other people show up, and turns out, they're actually all getting a colonoscopy as well. So we're all part of the, butt probing club here. So, I end up getting there at 6:30, and the procedure's not till 7 o'clock, but then I don't even get moved to the waiting room until 7:30, because they were screening everyone else. And, they ask me the same questions over and over again, take my blood pressure over and over again. And I'm getting more and more anxious. I'm hopefully they can tell I'm not just being an asshole, I'm quite stressed. And they bring us into this waiting room, there's a scene where Big Boss cries at the end of Snake Eater, and there's one tear that goes down. Nothing goes down on this side. Yeah, but it feels gross. It feels all damp there now. But yeah, so I think they could tell that I was getting stressed, and I mentioned, I had been in a car accident, and they asked me, so are you experiencing any pain? Yeah, where? Everywhere, all the time. That's just my default state. So yeah, I heard the nurses talking. I think she should go first. I think we should put her ahead, because this is going to be harder for her. Okay. I lay down. They put the thing in my hand, and it took a couple of attempts, but pain doesn't bother me. They put the gas mask on, or it's the oxygen mask. I don't know what it is for. I'm not a doctor here. but they put the mask over my mouth, and yeah, I'm grimacing, and I'm tense, but I'm not freaking out. I'm not gonna run away. I'm resigned. It's a part of me that just went, just hurry and fucking kill me already. This is idea of I'm so accepting this as euthanization. In my mind, I've gone through all the steps. I've been writing my will, saying goodbye to my loved ones, going through the death meditation and everything. And so my thing is just get over and done with. Just go ahead. I don't give a shit. And then I woke up. Sort of. It's like half my brain woke up and the other half didn't. There's a part of my brain. I was sitting there in the back seat, fully conscious, just observing everything, going, oh, God. Yeah, just being such an attention seeker. What are you doing, drama queen? Wake up. We're just doing this for attention. You're going through I'm berating myself in the way my family used to berate me. So, no, I was not acting up for attention. So I was lying there, I was writhing around, I was not really screaming, but I was shouting, I was calling for Snake. I kept saying, Snake! 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 No, not like that. But I kept saying Snake, and I kept saying there was fire. So I'm hallucinating, I'm remembering the opening scene of Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, where the hospital is on fire. And because I've been having so many nightmares, my way of controlling those nightmares, the rape nightmares, the torture, they get pretty full on. When I can sort of get myself into that lucid state, my way of controlling the dream, because you can't just wake yourself up, but I call for Big Boss, I call for Snake, because, I've been playing the games lately, but it's just, ever since I was a child, I always needed a champion, I suppose. I've had hyperphantasia, very intense imagination, and very intense dreams, and when I lose control of the dreams, I guess, as long as I can remember, I thought if I have the biggest, baddest motherfucker, he will save me, he will, get me out of this situation. So as a child, it was Bane, the villain, misunderstood, from Batman. He was my tool, my protector as a kid. And yeah, these days it's Snake, it's Big Boss. It can be Venom Snake sometimes, but yeah, it's just I'll call out his name and then I'll sort of conjure him, and then I'll have enough control over the dream to just sort of stop whatever horrible thing is happening. So obviously I'm doing that. I'm half awake going, oh, it's a lucid dream, bad things are happening, there's fire, Snake, do something, Snake. And I can see him on the left side. I can see him just standing there. But yeah, it's this horrible nightmare. He's just watching. He's not doing anything. I'm talking to him. He's not saying anything. He's just watching. And yeah, that really fucked me up because, yeah, and it's just a dream. It's just all in my head. And it's a bad reaction to anesthesia. But because I had appointed this, it was like my safe word, and I appointed this character to get me out of bad dreams. And this time, it didn't work. It sounds silly, but yeah, it makes you feel betrayed. It makes you feel alone because, okay, what happens the next time? So my surefire method, I don't know if it's so surefire anymore. But, I'm lying there, and so there's a part of me that is totally convinced that this nightmare is happening. There's another half going, fucking wake up, oh my God. Everyone around me, all the doctors and nurses, they're screaming, wake up, open your eyes. And I'm like, why are you yelling at me? My eyes don't work so good sometimes. Fuck. And yeah, again, in my head going, why am I doing this? Just sit up. What is wrong with me? Meanwhile, they're saying, all these alarms are going off, and they're saying, okay, her vital signs are not good, we got to do something. They're putting the oxygen mask on my face again, they're prodding me in the ribs. Wake up! Clearly I was not in any shape to control myself. I wasn't making it up, because if I was making it, that is above method acting. That is above Daniel Day-Lewis. I'm able to change my heart rate and blood pressure at will. That wasn't last Friday, but the Friday before. So it's been a week and a little bit, and I just haven't been right since then. I've been so tired. I didn't go to work all last week. Haven't been sleeping or asleep all day. But then nighttime rolls around and I got a little bit of energy. And I've been forcing myself to exercise. I've been bodybuilding. Which it feels great to get back into that. I'm glad that I can at least do that, for about 15 minutes. I'm getting up to about half an hour lately. Even just using these 4-liter distilled water jugs as weights. I've ordered some weights now because I just wanted to see if I was able to do this routinely as I used to. I used to exercise every day, but not for a long time. And I'd lost a lot of strength. I have a pull-up bar. I'm actually able to do 1 or 2 pull-ups in a row now. For a while there, I had to slowly do reverse pull-ups. You sort of jump up, hold yourself, and then slowly lower yourself down. That's the only way I could do it. I'd lost that much strength. I mean, when I was bodybuilding, I was pretty big and I was pretty damn strong. And that was sort of at my peak, and I hope I can get back to that one day. With this Big Boss cosplay, actually, this is one I'm taking really seriously, and that I want it to be perfect. And my body is the canvas. I want to build myself up and look the way I've wanted to for a long time. I'm getting to a point now where I've divorced myself from the trans movement. I've divorced myself from my mother. And I'm finally at a stage now where I'm accepting what I'm actually comfortable with. And I'm learning, no, I'm not a man, but I hate femininity. I hate what society tells us a woman should be. That a woman shouldn't be shirtless, that my tits are inherently sexual. There are guys out there with tits bigger than mine. What are you talking about? The reason I've been pushing myself to work out so much lately is that I have developed these self-harm urges. It's only been this past week or so. I used to claw myself, with my nails, compulsive. I'll just scratch until I bleed. I think I talked about it in one of my first videos. That was my way of just dealing with extreme stress. And I've been doing that a lot lately, but now I've graduated to blades. It's a fillet knife, actually. I'm not fucking around, I guess. And I have a lot of discipline, a lot of self-control. But when you have to deal with the intrusive thoughts, it can get pretty scary sometimes. It can feel pretty real. And so tomorrow I see not one but 2 therapists. There's one with my employment agency, so I thought I'll take whatever therapy I can get. I need a lot of help right now. I live alone. I have some friends, but not many. And after the accident, what was really upsetting was realizing how few people actually checked in on me, or they'd say, "Oh, I'm always here for you. If you need anything, let me know." But then I'd ask, and they wouldn't be able to help. It's been a lot of my online friends that have been getting me through this. I'll talk to them, and thankfully, different time zones. So I'll be talking to them into the wee hours of the morning, just because I don't know. I just can't calm down, and I'm just so upset about everything, and everything keeps going worse and worse, and things just keep getting worse and worse. I mean, every day there's something. Before I cut myself, I was actually on the phone calling the police about getting my stuff back, because I got a letter ages ago, back in August. We've got some of your belongings, so just call us and we'll send it to whatever police precinct you want, and we'll get it all sorted out for you. So I did, called up, take it to such and such station. Nothing happened, and obviously a lot of other distractions happened in the meantime. So yeah, I just thought, oh, today I'll check in. What's going on with that? Oh, yeah, sorry. I guess there's been a clerical error. We just destroyed it. So you're telling me the few things you were able to retrieve that were just sitting there, and I said, yes, please, would like them, take them to the station, and then you're supposed to notify me when it's there. I never got a phone call. No one told me it was ready. And you didn't give me any warning. You just destroyed it. And oh, well, really sorry, and I still have to send an email about that and complaining, and maybe I can get some sort of compensation, but yeah, it was just that. Oh, and then before that, I was talking to the ambulance service, and they were saying, oh, yeah, no. If you're over the age of 65, yeah, your pension allows you to get this very vital fucking service for free. But, just because you're on the disability pension doesn't mean it's free. We'll give you a 50% discount. So, yeah, I mean, that was obviously not the best things for me to do on a day that I already felt like I was at breaking point. So, yeah, I got the knife, and I just sat in the bathroom for about half an hour. And because it had been since the previous night that I'd had these intrusive thoughts, this impulse. Every time I was sitting, I was looking there. I was like, fuck, I gotta feel really good though. It's like this itch you can't scratch. I really need it. I really need the pain. I really need it. And it's this weird urge. I can't even explain it or why I have that urge. And I guess it's because I'm constantly feeling pain. So my relationship to pain's changed lately, and pain's almost this euphoric, calming thing. It's hard to put into words, but yeah. I've accidentally cut and burned myself, as you do in a matter of the course of a day. And every time it's like, oh, that's quite nice. I want more of that. So, yeah. After learning that my stuff had been destroyed, I took the knife and just sat in the bathroom. And I just wanted to convince myself, look, you are in control. You have these thoughts. I've had intrusive thoughts since my teens, but look, these are just thoughts that you don't have to act upon them. You just sit there and prove to yourself, oh, okay, just slashed my leg, whoops. So then I put the knife away. I went, okay. Don't have as much control as I thought I did, but I mean, it was like, a little paper cut, nothing, and sort of penetrated, poked in a few times. Nothing really visible. I'm not going to town on myself, but yeah, just that slice was like, oh, that's what I was missing. That's what I needed, and that concerned me because it's like, well, why in the fuck am I feeling that way? Why would I hurt myself and then feel good? But yeah, since then I haven't had that impulse. I wasn't able to exercise for a couple of days there. So I was just sleeping all the time, barely able to do anything. I'm alone. I'm going insane, and so I just need that stimulus, I guess. This sense of control, this release. But yeah, bodybuilding and boxing. Thank God, before I broke, my finger isn't broken anymore, but before I was in the second car accident, hopefully I get compensation for that too. I have reported the guy. I forgot to do it. It's like 2 months past, and I now reported him. But yeah, I've got my beloved punching bag out there. It's great, and that's been good. That's a good way of relieving stress. But so the shit with my family continues on. After I think my mother crossed the line that she was asking one of my friends, not her friend, one of my friends to lie to me so that she could get control over me. That's when I made a public announcement. I'm gonna have to tell everyone, look, my mother is a fan of proxy wars here, apparently. She's really overstepped the boundaries, and she's contacting my friends in order to con me, basically. So that's some manipulation, that's some gaslighting, that's some triangulation, to use some psychological terms there. And I got a lot of sympathy for that, and that was good. And just coming to terms with the fact that my parents were never good people. I do not have good parents. I don't think they ever loved me. And I'm pretty sure my mother is a narcissist. And I'm better without her. I'm better alone. And yeah, obviously my family saw that as well, so I was completely iced out. I thought, I didn't say anything really that bad in my message. I just went, look, I feel unsafe around my mother. She's overstepped the boundaries. I'm considering a restraining order. Because I knew I blocked her, but I knew she'd probably see it somehow. The thing that's just shocking is that no one wanted to hear my side of the story. Which makes me feel that, oh, so you always thought I was the crazy one. You never loved me. There's no loyalty here. You're not interested in giving me the benefit of the doubt. You've just been waiting for an opportunity to just throw me under the bus, toss me off the cliff. And I've been asking her to get help for a long time. I know she's not okay. She's done some very troubling things. So you need help, Mom, please. If you want this relationship between us to continue, please, I'm begging you, get help. We could get help together. There's phone appointments now. You don't have to go anywhere to do it. Because you always, I have no time, and, I've got so much other stuff to do, and, they're all young anyway, they don't know what they're talking about, and what I'm realizing now is she doesn't want to confront her feelings and her problems, and she doesn't want anyone to tell her that she's wrong. But, yeah, the thing that really fucked me up, so I wanted to film this video for a while, for the past few days, but I've just been so sick and so weak, but, the night before the colonoscopy, I contacted my grandmother and said, I hope what went on between Mum and I doesn't affect our relationship. And Nana said, of course not. Mum would never want to put a wedge between us. I love you no matter what. I've been praying for you. I hope the surgery goes well. Next day, nothing. Couple of days passed, nothing. I say, hey, how's the family? Can't contact my brothers. What's going on? And then day after day, hey, hello, what's up? Are you okay? I'm getting really concerned. She sends me these horrible messages. It sounds like my mother. It doesn't sound like the way my Nana talks. That she wouldn't give me the benefit of the doubt. She doesn't want to talk to me. She didn't answer my calls. How awful and selfish and horrible I am. And, I told her, after all the trauma I've been through, and your daughter has abused me too. She's hurt me. She's made my recovery processes a million times. But, she does something. She helps me, but at what cost? And, I told her, and it wasn't a lie, really. I said, well, it doesn't matter, Nana. I'm tired. I'm going to end it. I'm just tired of all the pain. I was making it very clear, I am going to try to kill myself. I don't think that's emotional manipulation. That's genuinely how I felt at the time. I was just so hurt. My mother has taken everything from me. But maybe I didn't even have it to begin with. If my relatives, my own brothers, side with her without hearing my end of it, and they complain about it all the time. They think she's crazy. They think that she's unreasonable. So then why are they siding with her? They don't even want to hear what I have to say. I don't even know what story that cunt has told them. But the fact that they believe it, that says more about them than it says about my mother. But they didn't really love me. They didn't really care. Because, if someone told me lies about someone I loved, I wouldn't just ignore them. If someone said, oh, yeah, your best friend, he's actually a pedophile and he's like a serial offender. So, okay, option A, you block them, your best friend, and don't say anything. Or do you, B, confront them and go, why did this person say this? What's going on? Well, yeah, now my family went for option A. Oh, well, she must be a lunatic. She must be... I didn't even know what... My grandmother had this big, long rant of a text saying, that I was so anxious about you for days after your operation, and we heard nothing about... You never contacted me, and I was contacting you, and you wouldn't respond. So how is that my fucking fault? How is that on me? A couple of days ago, I called my grandfather because I couldn't contact anyone else, and he has dementia. So even if my family told him all sorts of lies about me, he's not going to remember that. He's going to remember who I was as a toddler, sitting in his lap, pretending to drive his car. That's who he's going to remember. That's the last memories of me he's going to have when everything else is gone. And yeah, I cried on that phone call as well. Because he was very lucid that day. It was a nice conversation. He was encouraging me about getting my driver's license. I'd just done a driving lesson that day. I'm still fighting the good fight. I'm going to get it. Can't kill myself until I do that. And write my memoir, of course. But, yeah, it was a nice conversation. Normal conversation. And, he said he loved me no matter what and all that. And I just went, this might be the last time I ever have this conversation with you. I don't know if it's because of my mother or, if his mind's going to go or, he's in his 90s, so you never know how long you're going to have with someone like that. Just keep getting punched in the gut over and over and over again. So, I don't know. I could still call him unless they take his phone away from him or whatever, but I just think back at every memory and it's all a lie. They created me, they gave birth to me, they raised me. Why? I just seem to be around, to be a nuisance, to be a burden, to be something that they hated. And yet they push me away, so I, go no contact, I distance myself. And then I'm a selfish brat, I'm childish. So what, do you want me there or do you not want me? I'm getting really mixed messages. Do you hate me? Or do you love me? It's really fucked. And yeah, I'm coming to terms with all of this now. This has been simmering for decades, really. I was the black sheep. Just didn't realize how much so. But yeah, I'm thinking about my own future, and I just go, you know what? Being alone is great. I don't want to date. I don't want a partner. I don't want kids. I don't want any of that shit. Fuck it. I can't trust anyone. So, where do we go from here? Yeah, I'm gonna have to go through a grieving process with my family. And I'm all alone. I do have some good friends. I do have friends. The mate who picked me up from the colonoscopy, he also went above and beyond after the accident. He helped me move my bed to my mum's house and back again, very short notice. He doesn't care. He's very loyal. He's very dedicated. He restores my faith in humanity. So I've got him. I've got a few other friends. But, yeah, very few people contact me and say, "Oh, do you want to go out anywhere? I haven't seen you in months." So that makes me feel very alone. That no one's. If I used to be the one who was always organizing events, outings, I was always looking at what's going on in Perth. Last time I was invited to anything was a birthday party, but it was the day or the week I went back to work, so I was exhausted, so I couldn't attend, and it was a costume party. And after everything I've been through, yeah, I mean, I like to wear my Metal Gear cosplays in my videos, but otherwise, yeah, getting dressed up as a wizard and bowling. I mean, yeah, it sounds like a cute, fun party. I mean, I had an 80s themed party last year, but just the headspace I was in, I'm still in that headspace. It's like, can't be fucked. Yeah, there's a lot of frivolity and stuff like that that I do not care for. Even just trying to make small talk with people, I struggle with that these days because everything just becomes so grim and gallows humor. It's all I know how to talk about now. I think that's everything, although, I don't know. There's probably more. You know there's always more. But, see you, Space Cowboy. And also, hey, you're pretty good.